And after college, you're a Division I athlete playing hockey. When did you kind of get that itch to kind of pivot and go after these crazy endurance sports?
Yeah, that's a good question. So right after college, I got into like CrossFit. My mom got us all into CrossFit. So I did that for a couple years competitively. And then some buddies of mine at the gym were doing the rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, which is 50 miles over 10,000 feet of gain. And I was like, I want to do that. I don't think I've ever run more than a half marathon at that point. And so that was like kind of something I wanted to get into. I knew I had like an endurance background a little bit and I was capable of doing so. So kind of got into ultramarathons, started running trail ultras, and then some of my friends did Spartan races at a pretty high level. And so my first Spartan race was in Tahoe in 2021, a month before, 2 months before I won World's Toughest. So I went and did that. And then that qualified me for Spartan Ultra World Champs, which is a 24 hours obstacle course race. And that was in the mountains of Telluride. And so I did that. I took second on course. And then a month later, I did World's Toughest Mudder. So it was kind of just like I was all in. And that was my story.
So let me get this straight. Kind of on a whim, you were like, yeah, let's go do that 50-mile canyon run with some friends. It sounds like a good time. And that's what got you hooked
much
in it. Did you have like an endurance background to run that race? I mean, like just to hit a casual 50-mile with 10,000 elevation change, like how did, were you just from your years of training, as an athlete, were you able to just get it done, or did you have to train for that?
I had heard they were doing it probably a couple months before. So I put in some volume, not a whole ton, obviously, in 2 months, but yeah, I don't know. I was just something that I wanted to try and I wanted to do. And I loved it. I loved being outdoors. I loved trail running, which is what I do essentially every day here in Boulder. So yeah, it kind of just like sparked my interest. And from there, I was like, yeah, this is cool. I want to do it.
Did that click quick for you as far as that volume of running? I mean, that's a different animal, even as former athletes ourselves. It's one thing even to do a half marathon, but as you start to get above that, I feel like even the systems you're using in your body are very different. Was that something you were able to kind of step into really quick, or did it take, I mean, you're really good at it now. Was that something that took a while to really get comfortable, or did it kind of happen naturally?
I would say like building up the muscle strength, because obviously you use different muscles and it's a lot of fatigue on the body. That took a lot of training and building up for it after that first initial one. And then I put in more time on my feet, which makes a huge difference. But yeah, mentally, I knew that I would like, that's something I could kind of just jump into and kind of rip my way through, as I've done with most races that I've, never had experience with. I've done swim run world championships, which is, this one's crazy. It's 40 miles of running total and over 6.5 miles of open water swimming. You're swimming in between islands and then getting out and running those islands off the coast of Sweden. So like, that's something I had never done before. But with a little bit of training and just like the right mindset, I think that really anything's possible.
And did you have any in those early stages that I guess broke you, might be a bit of an exaggeration, but that you realized, oh shit, this is like another tier of training in order to get ready for it? Are there any in your early history when you started kind of getting into these that you can recall that yeah, broke you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean the 24-hour races, that's a whole different ball game. Those are pretty tough to conquer. The one that was in Telluride, it was like middle of the night, and you essentially start at 9,000 feet and you climb to 11 each lap. So there's 6-mile loops, 20 obstacles a lap. And I was climbing the mountain on one of the laps I was on, and I was like, wow, this is tough. Like, this is going to take some extra mental grit to get to the top of this mountain on this lap. So there's always things like that come up in races. But yeah, as long as like you're getting some training in, and then obviously today more so like I have like a dedicated coach and like things like that help me get to where I need to be. But like in the beginning, it was kind of just like, let's do this thing.
And when you won the Tough Mudder like World Championship in 2021, how long had you been like competitive in that space?
I mean, I'd been like running and training and mountain biking and, doing CrossFit. So I've been building up, endurance for the last like 2 years, like really dedicated. But my first actual race and then being competitive in that space was a couple months prior.